Hi, my name is Robert C. Ayala, and I'm a real Democrat running for the Democratic nomination for president to stop the campaigns of Joe Biden, Donald Trump, or any candidate telling us how to live, what to ingest, or how to look. I may be imperfect, but I know what I believe in. And a real Democrat believes in putting you first and others first. A real Democrat believes in putting you and others first. And that's what I would do as president. If you always put other people first, you'll always get to where you need to be. I wanted to talk about the debate last night. And I want to say this without a doubt that 7 of the 9 candidates will beat President Joe Biden. 7 of the 9 candidates will beat Joe Biden. 9 of the candidates are more than capable of beating Joe Biden. When you look at the debate last night, what I see, first of all, let's get right on it. The winner, in my view, was Nikki Haley. Well, of course, she said something nice about accountants wanting that accountants should be in the White House, so obviously I agree with that. But that's not why she won. She won because she is the most rational, general candidate on the stage last night. Okay, she's the most rational, general candidate on the stage last night. And it's interesting because she's the only woman that was on the stage. And I thought it was very disrespectful for Vivek to constantly interrupt her. So let's say that Nikki Haley was the one that won the debate last night in the sense that she would mop the floor with Joe Biden. She looks younger. She's passionate. She's got vigor. She has a beautiful family. And she went toe-to-toe with 7 other men there. So when you compare the debate last night to how Joe Biden goes and campaigns today and what Joe Biden says to the public and how he says it and all his, you want to call it old man syndromes, beyond old man syndromes. If these symptoms were occurring by anybody else's family members, we would be trying to put the elder in some type of confinement or senior home. And I don't say that to be disrespectful of our elder class, but when there's a certain point where you can't get words out and you're forgetting things and you're shuffling around and you're scared to fall, that's real. And so last night, every single candidate was more awake, more vibrant, and more alive than Joe Biden's been in the last 2 years. So who won't win? Vivek. Let's start with him. Vivek, I know Generation X or whatever they want to call themselves think he's cool. But I will say this, is that what he said last night is very classical from certain cultures coming from India and Pakistan. And it's not a problem. Those countries over there have a form of caste system. So it would only make sense that when Vivek says that all Americans should have to take a citizenship test like his mother had to take, right? So we have a candidate who's telling Americans that Americans need to take a citizenship test like his mother had to take to be able to vote. Listen to that. So I don't want to call anybody an outsider, but I'm going to call him an outsider. We have an outsider coming into our country once again and telling us what we should and shouldn't do with our country. And I just think that's very disrespectful. I thought it was very disrespectful that he kept over-talking Nikki Haley. He didn't even give her the condition to understand that she was the governor of South Carolina. That I believe she was a secretary. I'm unsure of what, maybe she was the ambassador. I don't know what Trump put her in, but she has a real resume, and he was very dismissive of her. and he was dismissive of everybody. And everybody in America is terrible. But the reality is his family immigrated from a country where there's a lot of institutional problems. India is a first, second, and third world country all wrapped into one. There's a real issue there. They have 1 billion people. And the thing that Viva forgets is his parents got here, and yet he was born here, and he's running for the presidential candidate by de facto right of his birth. Nobody gave him a citizenship test. And he seems to have a real disconnect with some of the minorities in this country. And whatever, I don't care. I don't think America as a whole is going to elect a guy with a last name called Ramaswamy. And I know that we said they weren't going to vote for Obama, but Obama still represented, over 14% of the population. And so, I think fundamentally that's a little bit different than, I'm not sure if the Indian culture as a whole is there, but, it's just, when you're coming in and saying how bad everybody else is, that's terrible. Okay, who's next? Who's next? Ron DeSantis. Ron is just so angry. He's angry about everything. He's angry about, you can't even ask the guy a question without him being angry. His 2-sentence and one-liners are just they're so canned. He doesn't have anything off the fly. No ideas. I feel sorry for the state of Florida that Ron DeSantis is going to return as their governor and be very angry because he did not win the presidential election. And the thing that Ron DeSantis needs to understand is, if you're not winning with the hardcore right base, why you would be able to come out and push that crap, hating on black people, changing AP history, denying the existence that slavery was, somehow an awful thing, that people got some type of benefit off of it. But last night, I think Ron pretty much sealed his coffin. Every single opportunity he got to relate to the country and to relate to people, he completely failed. Even in explaining the overdose death of somebody he had seen on the campaign trail, he didn't even give pause to recognize the pain and suffering of such an individual. Just boom, on to the next point, and no good. Chris Christie, he did what I said he's going to do. He's going to come out and attack. He attacked everybody. And, maybe he goes up in the polling for it. Maybe it's a good thing. I don't think he's going to beat Trump. So at the end of the day, it was nice just to see that Christie brought the logic sense of the argument to the debate. So Ron DeSantis and Vivek are the 2 out of the 9 that they're capable of beating Biden, but they won't be Biden. In fact, I think Ron DeSantis loses by a landslide to Joe Biden. So I think if Democrats don't want to have a primary of their own, which I'm completely against, their best bet would be to help Ron DeSantis make it to the general, where he'll be defeated easily. But Tim Scott, I don't know what to say of Tim Scott. Maybe Tim Scott's in a bygone era. I understand he wants to bring a religious idea to the country. He wants to speak in godly tones and be the Martin Luther King, but we're not in that time period no more. We're in TikTok. We're like, make a video or something, but toning your voice with the word of God and coming up with all this left-wing policies and ideas, and we should stand for life, and those are good things to really be for, until you're the person that has to live with the results of it, right? So once again, I didn't hear anybody last night advocating for any type of freedom. I didn't hear anybody telling you how they were going to increase the standard deduction that would put money back in your pocket, right? I didn't hear any of that. So what do we got? We got Tim Scott. He could win, but he won't win. Chris Christie, he could win, but he won't win. Asa, he could win against Joe Biden, but I think it would be harder for him because we would be taking one geriatric old guy for another geriatric old guy. And you know what? I'm perfectly fine here. You know, Medicare season's right around the corner. I work with a lot of people 65 plus. Geriatric is a kind word. And, you know, we shouldn't have candidates that are that level of geriatric running the president, being the president of the United States of America. Joe Biden could lose if Asa made it through the primary. Asa would probably beat Joe Biden because the governor, I believe, of Arkansas is very articulate. And even though he's just probably as old as Biden, he can sit there and he can mumble more than 2 words in a sentence that makes cohesion, whatever. See, now I'm doing it. Makes sense to people, right? So he could do it. So we've excluded Vivek. We've excluded Ron DeSantis. We've said Nikki Haley was the winner. Chris Christie, he could win. Asa, oh, you know what? Bergman from North Dakota. I really liked what he was saying. He would be, if he could make it through the primary, he might have a landslide against Joe Biden. I liked hearing his constitutional, when they asked him, do you want an abortion ban? He pulled out a constitution. He said something, it was the 10th or one of the amendments, and said it doesn't make sense that we've delegated this to the states. And then suddenly we want to jump in there and we want to say functionally that the federal government should control the process again. He seemed really opposed to that. Even though in North Dakota he has a 6-week or 12-week ban on abortion, it's just still one of those things that for me, I don't still see anyone talking about the men in the abortion discussion. And I have no means to tell women not to have an abortion. And I think the Democrats really should come out sometimes and defend their positions. This whole idea that people are just having abortions when they're 9 months and 2 days and 3 days away from delivering the baby, I don't know where that is. I gotta be honest, I've never seen that. I've never seen a woman who carried a baby to almost full term, and then she's like, yep, don't want the sucker. And second of all, I don't know where you can truly go in the United States and get such a late term abortion. I know there's got to be some medical things. They can C-section the baby. They can put the baby in an infant tube. There's so many things they could save the baby with at that stage. I just don't know if necessarily the idea that women are having abortions at 8 months is really based in reality and real numbers. So I thought that was disappointing there. So Donald Trump wasn't there. He still sounds like the best candidate out of all the Republicans. And he took no time going on social media last night and bashing everybody. So, you know, that's where I think we're at. You know, Vivek is not really an American, and his experience last night with foreign affairs showed that. Nikki won. And DeSantis is not out. I know I'm probably missing somebody else. I got Doug Bergman, Tim Scott, Chris Christie, and whatever. If I've missed anybody else's name, it just means that's how uneventful they were last night. So the reality is 7 of the 9 will beat Joe Biden. 7 of the 9 will beat Joe Biden. All 9 are capable of getting up there, standing, and being strong enough candidates that when you put them side by side by Joe Biden and you ask the world, which is all 50 states of America, to look on the stage and make a decision on who isn't going to kick the bucket in the next 6 months, I think it's not going to even be a question. And so the old man Joe, slow man Joe, it is time for you to step aside. Just look at that stage last night. Everybody, even Chris Christie, everybody looked younger and better than Joe Biden. And when people wake up on November 4th, 2024, and they look in the mirror, nobody's going to be looking at Joe Biden. They're going to be looking at Kamala Harris. And anybody who thinks that she even has a plurality of votes to get over the hump on her own is just sadly mistaken. It's time for a Democratic primary. It's time for a candidate named Robert C. Ayala who wants to put you first, put others first, put more money in your pocket, reduce your taxes, have an opportunity for your children to excel, give them education that helps them move forward, and then whatever else you guys want to do, that's on you, because you're a free people. And in America, free people do what the fuck they like. Vote Rob. Vote Joe. Get Trump. Vote Rob. Have a good day. Hope to see you guys at 9:30 on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And I'll be back on later tonight on the other channel for the live stream. Hopefully we can get some people here who are going to ask some questions. I thought last night the show really was a shit show. It's just one more reason why we really need to start talking as a country about what we want from our government. We should have a government that helps the people live better, healthier, and happier lives. I'm sorry, Mike Pence. You did a really good job last night too, but you're going to have the same problem as Tim Scott. It just, you're talking the whole slow thing, the whole theater. It was good, but you wouldn't stop interrupting. You interrupted all night, just over and over and over again. And I understand you're the vice president, and I thought it was really crafty of you. To get everybody on that stage to say that you did the right thing on January 6th. I thought that was genius. Even though Ron DeSantis took 5 minutes to get there, I thought it was really genius of you. And I'm proud of you. I think America's proud of you. And but you were boring as hell. And I just don't, unless Trump brings you back on as his number two, which I don't think he'll do that. I just think Mike Pence is stuck in a bygone era. It's just old news, and no. So I'm sorry I missed you in the first part of the video. I've rectified it here and brought you in. You did a good job. I'm sorry I missed you, but that's how quick I had forgotten about you last night, because that's how uneventful it was. And we'll see where things go. I think it's still time for Joe Biden to step aside and let real Democrats have a debate. And the only real Democrat and the only real person right now who's putting you forward first and advocating ideas that make you freer and put more money in your pocket is me. See you at 9:30. Talk to you soon. Bye.